pension liability that we had that had to be repaid. Also, there's an estimation that we may go into Social Security for the police department, so we have to include that. That's why those increases are there. We put a $1 million increase in the fire fund because the citizens of this town in the last referendum voted for $1 million increase. And we put another $1 million increase in the recreation fund in order to have some matching funds for open space. So that's the total increase in this budget, $3.5 million. I think you should take a look at something. Most of us pay less than $175 to $180 a month in borough taxes. I'm not talking about school taxes or county taxes, borough taxes.
What's your point?
Less than $180 a month.
What's your point?
Do the math. If you also look at your cell phones, your computers, and your cable TV, you're probably paying that much for your toys. So you're really not paying a lot of money in borough taxes. And you're getting all these services for that. These were the increases we had to put in there. It's about $3.5 million total on the budget. That should be an average of $75, maybe a little bit more, depending on what your assessment is. The mill this year was worth $59,000. A mill is based on the assessed valuation of the property in this borough. If it's a $59,000 mill, that means all the properties in this borough are worth about $59 million. Bristol Borough, the mill is $71,000. That means the properties in Bristol Borough are worth $71 million. In Lower Makefield, the mill is worth $508,000, which means the property values in Lower Makefield are almost over $500 million. So when Makefield has a $30 million general fund, it means Makefield is collecting $15 million a year in taxes. Just for that. Are there any other questions that I have that may be coming from council?
I'd just like to comment that the sanitation bill is remaining the same. That has not changed. There was a $500,000 decrease in street lighting because that's the savings that's being transferred to the sinking fund. And there was a $500,000 increase for the library. And as I mentioned, the budget includes a 3% raise for the non-uniformed employees and 2% for the uniformed employees. And it also includes the purchase of a 7-yard dump truck. And we hope to get money in there for the tennis court fencing.
That's coming out of state.
Correct, yeah. And it has, you can't do anything else with it. It's coming out of state. Thank you for pointing that out.
And mill and recreation fund for open space, correct?
Correct.
Yes. One mill's actually for the firehouse, one mill's actually for the open space, and actually, the budget actually only went up 1.25 mils.
Which I think is it's a feat in itself. Councilman, any other questions?
Question. Originally,
Microphone.
thank you.
Leave it on.
Those that don't use a lot.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thank you for that. Originally, the police budget, and it has gone up, was submitted for the same numbers, and then after our manager looked at it, there was just one item alone was $76,000 that we felt we had to increase it, and that was for Social Security. So, just so people understand where some of that money is going. So, that's a lot of money, and it's just one item for Social Security, $76,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Plus the obligation for the MMO. That's another,
Their pension.
yeah, the pension. MMO is the pension.
So you can see where the money is going.
Right. So I think the 1.25 increase for borough activities, business is really pretty phenomenal to do that. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Shaw.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have 80. It's a motion to approve the 2015 salary schedule. you see that, you see the packet, I think. And, these figures were already included in the budget when it was presented to us. So they're not new figures. We have a motion? Thanks. Ted, right? And, second, please.
Second.
Okay.
Wait, did we receive that?
No,
No.
it's not in the package.
Didn't come in tonight?
No.
Oh, wait a minute, no, it didn't. I printed it from home. It came in our box on Friday.
No, you can't vote on it.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Can't vote on it.
Yeah, it's got page, yeah, it was, no, it came in the box Friday. Does anybody want to take a look at it first, or?
No. Table it. We don't have it Friday.
Yes, came in Friday. You have to rotate it though. You want a minute?
I have a couple here, I think. I have one, two, one.
I think you have a paper back.
It's like page 7 or 8. In Friday's packet.
I had my son look up on Facebook.
I'll take this opportunity to say that I'd like to have an executive session this after the meeting.
Parker's a friend,
On personnel.
Phillips a friend, Bates is a friend.
So as soon as we get done with this particular business, we'll go to executive session. Yes, Danielle?
I just have one quick question. You have the 1 mil for the fire department, correct?
Correct.
And then you had the 1 mil for
Open space.
the open space,
true.
not the rec fund, but for the open
It
space,
goes in,
correct?
it goes into,
Goes into the rec fund.
Goes into the
it'll have
rec
its own
fund.
line item,
Okay, and then the 1.1
the 1 1/4
for
will
the
be for the
police
rest of the
department.
operations.
Is there a mill for this dump truck, and what is the dump truck
No,
going to be used
no.
for?
Not out of general fund.
No?
How much
There's
was it?
not an extra mill.
It's not an extra mill for the dump truck. The dump truck is gonna come out of state highway funds. They're already in the budget.
Okay,
It's money that we get from the state that we can't spend on anything else but state highway.
gotcha.
So we can use that money that's been accumulating in there. Once it gets to a certain amount, we usually buy a truck with it.
How much is it?
Okay.
If we haven't already spent it on snow plowing or salt or
And
some
that's what
other
the dump
stuff.
truck's going to be used
Yes.
for? Gotcha.
There's
Okay.
also a
And you
mill in the
can't-
capital reserve fund in the general fund.
Okay,
And that's the only place you can use it.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so salary resolution?
Can I ask a quick question? You said that you were saving $500,000 on the street lighting, correct?
I'll explain that. I hear your question, I'll talk to you afterwards about that. We're not saving it, we've moved it. Our savings, we've moved,
To where?
so.
Well, my question is, that so $500,000 is about $30,000
Correct.
based on Vic saying it's 59,000.
Right.
So how much are we paying? So if we've saved only $30,000, how much are we paying for the loan for the JCI contract for the lights?
We'll get, I'll talk to you offline about that, okay?
Okay.
What?
It's just budgetary numbers, that's all. That's what, they don't necessarily equate to our savings only, so it's just the way it is moved over. All right, did you have something, Debbie?
No.
On the salary resolution?
Oh, no, it's, yeah, actually, what was sent was the same thing, we got the wage status
Yes.
sheet, but that's not actually the salary statement. Because I did a rate to know 1 year, and it was different than that, but that's not what we got with the wage sheet.
Okay. All right, so we have, Ted has the first, Jeff has the second. Any other questions on this motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the 2015 Borough holiday schedule, which was also in your Friday box. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second. Questions or comments on this motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the 2015 library holiday schedule. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second motion.
Questions or comments on this motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next is 8H. It's a motion to adopt a resolution approving the 2015 fee schedule. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second the motion.
Brandon Jones?
I have a question about
About the fee schedule?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was gonna give highlights, but you go ahead.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
George?
Yeah, can I ask some questions before you move on, please, ma'am?
Yes.
The towing and cleanup fees, were they
That was
increased?
my question.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Wait a minute.
Can we adjust those towing and fees?
That has to be done by ordinance, and it has to be, there's a process.
Isn't that part of the fee schedule? That was my question.
I thought that's what we were doing, I thought we were just doing,
On page 3.
setting the prices tonight.
Pardon me?
I thought we were just setting the prices tonight, right?
No,
The fee schedule?
these prices actually you have already, now the towing ordinance is different because, I'm sorry, the towing fee is different because that's for ordinance, but yet it's in the fee, it's also in the fee schedule. But if we find out, like if you want to do some history and find out if these are very low, then we have to alter the ordinance. We have to change the ordinance. And then we can actually amend the fee schedule in the future if that's what you want to do.
Okay, I thought that's what you were doing tonight, voting on the fee schedule.
We are,
Yeah.
We are. The current.
We're not
amending the ordinance.
So we need to amend the ordinance to reflect, I would recommend to council that we amend the ordinance, that we put it on the next agenda, to go ahead and say, shall be set by resolution of Borough Council. And in this way, you can always do the number, and you don't have to worry about the advertising requirement. So that's what would be my recommendation for the next policy.
I thought there was a reason we did towing that ordinance. I thought that was required.
Most other places have it in their fee schedule.
Okay.
but they have to by resolution, right?
But nonetheless, the way it stands now is an ordinance, we can't just say, okay, randomly, we're gonna just change, we're gonna change it. So,
Maybe you can explain to me later how this all works. I thought that's what, setting the schedule tonight was part of that. So I don't, kind of a little confused, maybe you can what you explained. So I don't understand how we're making, we're voting on what the numbers are, but you have to have a whole different resolution for that.
Got to change it, yes.
It has to be advertised.
yeah.
That's what you
So,
Can I ask you a question then, seeing that the chief is saying that? Is this something that has to be voted on tonight, or can this, like, stuff be changed and then actually put it in place?
What I would suggest, for count, I'll give it to Mr. Bates, Mr. Rockles, we simply amend the ordinance. We put a motion to advertise to, amend the ordinance. We go ahead and amend the ordinance to say it shall be per resolution of Borough Council, that's how we're supposed to do it, and then we're covered.
but we don't have those figures in there.
We don't have those figures, but we will do a separate resolution, and then we'll be on the fees. It'll be very easy. At the next meeting.
But the figures, I have to tell you, what he's looking for is to increase towing from 85 to 100, and storage fees from 45 to 60. And just so everyone knows, they haven't been increased since 2008.
Well, we also want to be in line with neighboring
They are.
towns and,
They didn't just pick these out of the air.
so they did, so you did call other communities, George?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, just hearing that. All right, so, you're saying.
Why don't we vote on the fee schedule now? And then a motion under new business, a motion to direct the secretary to prepare an advertisement to adjust the towing ordinance, to amend the towing ordinance to have council go ahead and set towing fees by resolution. I'll write it out. All right? Under new business.
Okay.
So then also, are the library fees, when they, if they do a schedule, that's gonna be then changed later on it?
Yes, so I'm just, we can make an amendment when that's all cleared up, whether it takes till February, March, or April, then we can just make an amendment schedule, amend the fee schedule at that time. Make an amendment and add them to the.
One other thing, Nancy, the other one you have here, the section 19, electronic information will be reproduced at cost. Is that because, is that something that's going to be happening with the right to know as far as going to be changes on something like that?
That's right.
Is that what it is?
We're not gonna do video cassettes and DVDs and all that stuff.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
We're not gonna do DVDs, video cassettes, the old stuff anymore.
So if we have to do anything, reproduce anything electronically anymore, we're gonna send it out. It'll be done at cost, whatever it costs us to send it out.
So we are gonna have like a fee schedule for, it? We don't know who we're sending it to?
We don't know yet. We don't know what it costs, so it'll be done at cost. That's why it says at cost.
The the previous one had the VHSs transferred to the DVDs, and it also mentions diskettes, and it's really quite outdated with all of those electronics. So,
Had things that aren't even in use anymore.
No.
Now there are floppy drives, now there are all kinds of different things. If you want something electronically, we're gonna send it out.
I was just gonna go over some of the changes. All right, these are some of the changes in the fee schedule, the recommended changes. Service machine went from $15 to $20 a year. Vending machine went from 15 to 20. Use and occupancy inspections, the fee for use and occupancy now will be $75. It used to be $60 for the first inspection and $10 for the second inspection. And Bob Seward had suggested that you just make it $75, and it takes care of the second inspection as well. The weighing fee for out here for our scale, it's $25 per weighing service, which is, again, not really, crazy numbers. The zoning hearing board, the fee will be $1,000 for residential and $2,500 for commercial. And then we have in section 17, the accredited sports organization member participation fee. This is a new one that was put in. Participation fee of $15 per resident and $30 per non-resident shall be charged as a member of an accredited and/or sanctioned sports organization twice yearly, spring and fall seasons. A field fee of $200 will be charged for all accredited sports tournaments and special sports events. These figures were after investigating, I think it was five, I don't know where I went. There were about 5 different communities that were from, and some of them are not on par with us, but nonetheless, 5 communities were investigated. The stormwater management monitoring fee, that fee was changed to be current. It's $98 per hour, I'm sorry, to be determined by the borough engineer. And again, the facility rental deposits for the pavilions, the fields, the concession stand, the stage, so forth. Everything went up for borough resident and non-resident by $25. And the electronic, as he said, the fee to reproduce electronic will be at cost, and the fee for return check for insufficient funds will be $35, which is on par with the banks. And that's the only changes I saw. Right? Anybody else? No. So, as far as the library goes, we can come up at a later date when those figures are confirmed, and we just add it to the fee schedule. And then the towing will be separate. All right, we have a first and a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next on the new business, 10A, a resolution to execute and submit an application to PennDOT for school zone traffic signal approval. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A second.
This particular application has to do with getting a school zone lighting up in front of the high school and Grandview. This is just the beginning steps. We have to have a resolution to submit the application. Damon Miller?
He's back
here.
over there.
Did you want to say
No.
2 words at this time? We passed out something this evening that gave the hours of operation for these lights, proposed lights.
David Miller, the Morrisville School Board President. Through many meetings with the joint Borough Council and the school board, we worked together to develop a plan that would put flashing signals at both Grandview and the high school on the side streets for Cox and Melvin. being 15 miles per hour, and then there would be posted times underneath that sign, so they would be enforceable. One of the reasons why we're doing this is not only, the primary reason is for the safety of the students in the school district as they're walking to school, since we are a walking district. But it's also to allow us to actually enforce the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit within the borough, in the schools at those particular times. The times have been submitted to Borough Council. These are the times that are going to be put on the permit. And just as a brief for the benefit of the audience and for those watching, 7:45 to 8:45. These are the times at Grandview. 7:45 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. For drop-off, and 10:45 to 11:15 for a.m. kindergarten dismissal, 11:45 to 12:15 for p.m. kindergarten drop-off, and 2:45 to 3:15 for dismissal at Grandview. At the intermediate school, 7:30 to 8:45, primarily because of the secondary grades beginning at 7:45, and elementary doesn't start classes until 8:25. The rule of thumb is basically about 15 minutes prior to your drop-off and 15 minutes afterwards. In the afternoon, it's a longer period of time. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 3:30. The reason being that our tech school drops off at 2:15, so we're starting at 2 o'clock, and secondary grades are at 2:30. Elementary grades dismiss at 3, and pre-K dismisses at 3:15. So these signs, the signs that I mentioned, will have these times posted on them, as well as they will all be the proper signage. They will all be the proper yellow. They'll have the proper wording on them. There won't be a combination of wherever we found a sign before and posted it up there and to help try to reduce the speed limit, so these are actually enforceable. And I want to thank everyone on Borough Council for working with the school board on making this happen. And I mean, working with the combination of obviously the police department and such, I'm hoping that we will be able to have a safe environment for our students as they are coming to school. Thank you.
One quick question, you know the small 50-mile-an-hour signs that we used to have at Ryder that we brought down to Grandview? Are they still usable at all?
I believe the yellow has changed. It has to be more of a fluorescent yellow than it is the older yellow. Yes.
Trying to save a buck.
I totally understand.
All right, thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda are the appointments, which we're...
Vote on it.
So we have Jeff and Corinne. Any other questions or comments on this motion? And I believe Tom has a copy of the resolution that came from Jen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Now, next on the appointments, we are pulling them off because even though it's just days away from the 19th, they can't be made this evening. We have to wait until their time actually expires.
Okay.
So, my question was, how come Nicole didn't actually get a letter from the borough? She was actually a little upset about it. She put the letter in that she's interested, but I mean, typically everyone gets a letter, so I'm wondering why she didn't get one reminding her.
I can't answer that. I'm sorry, Dave.
Open
I'm sorry, it was an oversight. I wasn't purpose. No, it's not on purpose.
I'd like to add something on the new business when we get to it.
Okay, well, I was going to do 10B first.
Okay.
10B, this is a motion to direct the borough solicitor to prepare and advertise an ordinance to amend the towing ordinance to require that towing fees be set by resolution of Borough Council. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
That's gonna be 10 minutes.
Yes. So this is 10B now, since we're not doing ordinance, okay? So, now that we have this new motion, is there anyone who'd like to speak to it? Anyone in the public? No? Okay. Okay, Chief?
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Sure. And, something else you said?
Yes, I'd like to add a motion directing either the Borough Administration or the Borough Solicitor to draft a letter to the Morrisville School Board stating that the School Board Council would like to advise them of the borough's interest in acquiring the MR right of property with the intent of turning the property into a public park when said property becomes available at any forthcoming sale of said land.
Would you do that again, please?
I like that.
A motion is in order directing the Borough Administration and/or Solicitor to draft a letter to the Morrisville School Board stating that the Borough Council would like to advise them of the borough's interest in acquiring the MR right of property with the intent of turning the property into a public park when said property becomes available at any forthcoming sale of said property.
I like that.
Yes, it is.
Well, I would need a first and a second for that.
Go
A
ahead.
second?
Who's the first? Ted?
That means motion.
There you go.
You have a motion?
I like that.
Okay. Questions or comments on this motion? I'll have to bring up the public again, if the public would like to.
I have a question. Did we get a second on this motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Jane.
How would we acquire this property? They just give it to us?
Well, I was gonna bring this up to public comment first. Does anyone from the public like to speak to this new motion we just added?
I think
Yes, this one, 10-6.
that's a great
I'll
idea.
need a copy of that.
Bill Setzer, 86 Crown Street, chairperson of the Morrisville DAC. Very pleased to hear Ted make such a motion for resolution. As you probably all remember, we came to you last April asking you to consider this at that time. So this is a unique opportunity in Morrisville's history. To miss this opportunity would be a real mistake. The EAC believes very strongly. We met with the school board for 6 consecutive months in 2014, discussed other options, prepared a packet. I'm prepared at any time for anyone on the Borough Council or even members of the public to give them an electronic copy of that packet, which discusses all the factors that might weigh in your decision in the future if we can possibly acquire that property, turn it into public parkland. It'll be a real benefit to the community, that is our belief. We thank you, any borough members, borough council members who support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Farrell, 347 Pennsylvania. I agree with Mr. Parker, Mr. Simpson. I think that if possible, the park would be the best. You have a historic building, Summerseat. You put modern buildings in there. If you look at it now, it looks out of place, the school, because it's a 50 and the Summerseat is from the 1700s. It's like an albatross sitting next to something you want to see. But I think it would be good to do something, because if you put housing in there, you're going to have modern housing. They don't make houses like they used to. They don't make them in that style. And I go over there and I look at it, it's like, I'm in the 50s when I look at the school. I'm in the 1700s when I look at that building. It's probably one of the only things you have of great historic value in the town. And to preserve that would be great. And make it look like a park, or whatever you want to do. But when you go to building stuff, I see it all over. These buildings, they look today, look like they're from the 22nd century. They have no character. They slap them up. So I think it's a great idea, and I hope you people would support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the audience?
Damon Miller, 249 West Franklin Street, again, the school board president. With council, if they do pass this, it would be something that the school board would keep in mind as we move forward with our decision on the property. And I think just for the benefit of everybody here in this room, and again for those who watch this, this does not mean that this is what's happening to this property. So I just want to let everybody be very clear that the decision that's made tonight is not sealing the fate of Somerset. We, as a school board, will be making the decision on what happens and how we move forward. I encourage council, EAC, or whomever it has to be, to develop a plan so that we know, as a school board, we can make an informed decision on how it is going to affect and the process that we need to do as a school board and what the expectations are from the borough. So again, I just need to make sure that everyone is aware that this is not sealing the fate of Somerset. And while it is a, in quotes, a natural fit, I think, in regards there, I am only one board member. I'm not speaking on behalf of the board. I'm only encouraging that the information gets presented to the school board with, you know, as far as saying, how is the building going to be demolished? Who's going to be paying for it? How is this going to be worked out? And what's the expectation from the school board to the council? And what's the expectations from the council to the school district? That's all that I'm asking. Just so that everyone is clear, recently, through our research, and I don't know how many people watch our school board meetings, I know certainly not very many attend, so for the benefit of those, again, who are here tonight and watching Borough Council, not school board meetings, through our title search on the Ryder property, we found that a portion of the property was owned by the Morrisville School District Authority. The authority was actually something that had existed since probably around the 50s. The last actual mention that we could find in any of our minutes was 1996. It was, to the best of my knowledge, it was a board of 4 people. That's all that I could find through the minutes that I looked through. They were basically responsible for holding the mortgage and for these properties. Some of these properties were transferred or owned by the school district. Some of them were owned by the authority. Just this past week, we have passed a resolution to terminate the authority, which is under the guidelines made in effect by Governor Rendell. So we were doing everything within our legal regulations, our limits, that we were able to terminate the authority because it no longer, it does not serve any purpose through our school district. We're not buying anything, we're not building anything. And so therefore, we're actually, we have passed, like I said, passing a resolution to terminate the authority, and the properties will be transferred through the county's records, as well as the state records, showing that the school district will actually take ownership. on paper, showing that we will actually own the ones. So before any process could be done, when this was found, we did not want to act on MR Ryder until we knew the big picture as far as how everything, who owned everything. We found some other properties that were owned the same way, so this is going to clear the slate and put everything on the same page for everybody. So, again, as council, as ever they wish to proceed, that's fine. Just understand that it's not a sealed deal. We would certainly encourage the information that can be provided to the school board so that they understand how the process is going to be worked, because there have been many discussions in regards to how the building could be paid for and for its demolition, and how a park could be put in there, and what purposes of the park, and who would be using it and who would be maintaining it. So I don't know the answers to all these questions, so I certainly look forward to getting as much information as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience? Now, for council comments.
I'd just like to say, this is just to express, if there's a majority, to express interest, basically let the school board and the public know that we have not forgotten about this and that we would like to move forward. I understand that the MEAC kind of needs a nod from council, and I figured we could do it this way. They wanted to try to pursue grants to make this happen in a working relationship with the borough, as they have done on other properties within the borough. This is not trying to lock anything down. This is just expressing an interest as to what we would like to see done with the property if we're able to acquire it. It doesn't mean that we're going to have enough funds to acquire it. It's just simply we are interested in it.
That's fine.
Would you be all in favor, and please read that motion again?
A motion is an order directing the borough administration and/or solicitor to draft a letter to the Morrisville School Board stating that the Borough Council would like to advise them of the borough's interest in acquiring the MR Ryder property with the intent of turning the property into a public park when said property becomes available at any forthcoming sale of said property.
I would ask to remove the word sale.
They would have to sell it. I mean, we're basically saying that if you guys are gonna sell it, we're interested, we're just like letting you know.
Well, we would buy it?
Well, we would have to, if we were to buy it through.
We already own it.
Yeah, we
When,
do.
how is that school paid for?
Through taxes.
With taxpayers' money. So we're gonna use taxpayers' money to buy something that the taxpayers already paid
Owns the
for.
property, the school district. It belongs to the school district.
Well, if we can do it with grants is one thing, but I don't want tax
It
people.
would not be, it's not intended to use.
Well, that's why I don't like the word sale. The idea is good, and I would like to explore ways to do it.
Well.
In order for us to do that, we have to throw our hat in the ring, so
Well,
to speak.
that's.
So this would be the first step in doing that.
Right, if it's saying at any forthcoming sale, at this time, the school board could decide not to sell it.
Right.
So if they're going to sell it, it would be at a sale. We're going to let them know, hey, we have enough grant money to purchase this from you because we are the public entity who would like to take ownership of it and turn it into a park. We just letting them know that if they're going to sell it, we're interested. We're not trying to lock anything into a sale.
Have we explored the, I think it was, Sharon might have mentioned at one of the last meetings that this is one of the 2,100, there are 2,100 historic sites across the country, Somerset being one of them. Have we explored the idea of it becoming an historic park?
I think we have to do, this is the first step in doing that. We can't do anything like that until they hear from us that we are willing to do that. And until we throw our hat in the ring and say, yes, we're interested in exploring any sort of possibilities for that property, we can't do anything. And I don't know.
And the we would be council and the MECAC, I'm butchering it, and any other group of citizens or stakeholders to come up with grant money to purchase it from us.
Maybe that needs to be inputted there somewhere a little bit. I just, I have a hard time agreeing to a sale when I don't know where the money's coming from.
We're not agreeing to a sale,
Well, we're agreeing to the possibility of purchasing it. Yeah, we're agreeing to purchasing it.
Just say interested in property.
We're advising them of our interest in purchasing it.
Well, perhaps the motion could be amended to say that Borough Council would like the opportunity to explore
Of acquiring.
acquiring.
That doesn't necessarily mean sale.
They have to sell it to acquire it. They have
They
to
don't
sell
have
it.
to
They
sell it.
don't.
They can
The
deed
land
it to
transfer.
another municipal agency.
Of course.
Well, acquiring the property could also be a sale. I don't see where that would,
I guess that would fall on the borough solicitor, whether or not.
I think the language just has to be a little more,
I do think at this point you, I don't want to speak for council, but I think all you're doing is showing your intent to the school district that you're interested in possibly acquiring it. Obviously, we'd have to jump through a lot of legal hoops before we even got it.
right. I think everybody knows that. It's just at this point, there are organizations that would like to move forward, getting grant money to really have a plan. And unfortunately, they need something from us. So as open and, I don't know if the word vague is correct, but they need something they need something from us, letting them know that we are an interested party in that property.
Well, the school code, as well as the borough code or any municipal code, essentially gives a way that a public entity has to dispose of property. They can do it by sale, they can do it by auction, or they, as Mr. Cicero talked about, they could deed it over to another municipal corporation, like the borough, the county, or something like that.
It's an intergovernmental land
Yeah,
exchange.
yes.
I have a question. Why isn't Summerseat exploring the ability to purchase the land instead
I'm
of?
sorry, we're not really taking any more comments. I think I heard you say something about Summerseat purchasing. That, I don't think they can purchase it.
Can I jump in for a second?
Can.
Our open space money that we have
That's why you should have
can
signed
be
up.
used for any of the park areas that you can acquire land
So
for
you
that.
can get
As open space, that would be a prime example right there, if the council so choose, as well as Williamson Park, it can be used in for certain defined improvements, because you're limited to what you can do, but there are things you can use to improve the parks where we're pretty much built out
Correct.
a lot of our land, correct?
But we don't own that property yet, so, and
Right, well, what I'm saying is, if the council explored into this and some of the options, that's also there too, because we haven't got a plan on what area we're using that for. And that can also be to acquire the land if we had to. And then grants could be used to take the building down, that it would cost the taxpayer for that part.
well, I would be opposed to taking the 1 mil that we voted on in this budget, that we were going to use at Williamson Park. I would be opposed to transferring that and using it at Summerseat.
Well, you're a little premature to worry about that right now.
Right.
You
Can't hear you.
Turn it up.
I said that's a little premature, but you can't even come to a conclusion if you really want to have it word this to support it.
Right.
I'll say, I think it's a great idea to do this, but not to be the downer here, but I see Damon's in the back, and he has a fiduciary responsibility too. I don't believe they're gonna gift it to the borough. That would be nice, hint, but I don't think they're gonna do it. So I mean,
All the
but,
residential people.
you know, what has to happen is they need some kind of guidance or direction saying if the borough is interested. You don't have to come to the conclusion of exactly purchasing and acquiring. I think it's a good word because you're interested and you need to actually do it. And that's a decent word, I think, to start the ball.
Acquiring word, I would agree.
So then, all right,
Much more amenable. But I also, I have another question, I'm sorry, quickly. I'll try to be quick. Now, if the MEAC will be going forward in seeking out grants for either acquisition or any of the following, tear down or whatever, and they go forward with all that, and then we find out that they're not even selling the building. That's a burden I really didn't want to put on the MEAC either.
Well, this starts that process. That's right. That's what this is about,
From what
starting the process.
Well, just so they know, I mean, they could go through 6 months of, you know.
I think they're aware of that.
I'm
I
sure
think they know
are.
that.
Can I say something, since we've been taught as ODM and the EAC on that?
Is there anything new?
It answers your questions.
Okay.
Certainly,
Well, I mean, if it answers the question, good, but in support of, I don't know, because we know where you stand with regards to that.
well, the EAC wouldn't be submitting, first of all, the EAC doesn't submit the grants, the Borough Council submits, the Borough submits the grants. We simply have assisted them in doing that in the past, and that we would only be assisting you in the future. Our thought all along, and we've stated this many times, is to use no taxpayer money. This would be grant money to purchase it, but it would be at no cost to the taxpayers. Clearly, this borough cannot afford any large expenditures, and we understand that. We never believed that you would even consider that. So this would be grant money that we would seek when we reached out and started exploring it.